Hello, beautiful soul. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast. Today, I'm interviewing Aurelia Ari. She is a sound healer, shamanic priestess, activator, and channeler on sound healing. And I really wanted to launch this episode this week because it's really easy right now to get caught up with everything that's happening around us and outside of us. And conspiracies are floating around, and it's really easy to focus on the external world and what's happening outside of us. And it is so important to remember that our external world is a reflection of what's going on inside of us. And it's very important that we use this time right now to go inwards and focus on our own energy and where we're at emotionally, and how we can tune into our own frequency and get that to a frequency that we want to be running at. And sound healing is such a great way to do this and go inwards. And Aurelia's music really takes you inwards. And her music is just so unique. You can really tell she's channeling these sounds and her music from somewhere outside of herself. She's really tapping into a whole other galaxy. Her music is so moving and so touching, so I really wanted to share it with you guys. And that sample you heard at the beginning of the podcast episode was actually a sample of one of her latest songs called Ancient Future. Today, Aurelia and I discuss what is sound healing, what are sound baths, how can you use sound healing to change your entire frequency of your body, how Aurelia channels certain music and sounds to activate certain energies in certain people, and how you can really use sound healing to heal your entire body, whether that's wanting to work on your mental health or your physical health. You can find Aurelia on Instagram at Venus Moon Temple, and I've put her link to find her music on YouTube in the show notes. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Hello, Aurelia. Welcome to the Elevate Your Soul podcast.
Hi, Aurel. Great to be here.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. First question I have for you is, what elevates your soul?
So that would be sound healing for me.
Yes. Can you tell us what sound healing really is?
So sound healing is a practice that dates back to ancient times. The ancient Egyptians would use crystal singing bowls, and they would use that to heal the body. And you can also use, some people use tuning forks, some people use voice, and there is also shamanic drumming, which is something that I use. I like to use vocals and shamanic drumming and singing bowls in order to create like an immersive experience that elevates the frequency of the body and the energy and the mind.
Wow, that sounds amazing. It sounds amazing. When did you realize your gift of helping others through sound?
Wow, that's a really interesting question. So sound for me goes way back to childhood. I remember I used to not be able to sleep without music being on.
Yeah.
It took years to actually be able to fall asleep without it. And I was always playing around on the piano, and I would sing, not very well. And then it must have been about 5 years ago now, where I would describe it as I found my soul voice. It was just a completely different voice came through me. Something happened. It just burst through me. Yeah. And I felt a complete different frequency. It felt very natural. Whereas before, it was very much, I would sing, but through my mind, it was a completely different experience. But this was something that I just felt, I felt it moved through me. And I think it was that moment I just knew that this would move others too. And it was from there that I began to, at first it was friends I would sing to, and sometimes they would fall asleep. And for a long time, I thought that that was a bad thing,
Right.
until I realized the effect that it was having on people. And it was like a few years ago now, 2017, that I began sound healing online. And then just last year, I began sound healing in person.
Yep. Amazing. So these are a sound healing session. Would you call that a sound bath, or what do you title?
Yeah, I like calling it sound bath, sound immersion, sound temple. Yeah, all of those names. Sound journey.
I love that. I love that. And before you describe to me that you channel sounds and you channel music for your clients, can you describe and explain to us what that means?
Yeah, so the way it works for me with my music, ever since finding my soul voice, music has just flowed through me. And it's like I just go to this space where I can feel, it's like I can feel, I can sense a song there. I can feel it and I can almost hear it in my head. And it's like I go to that place and I retrieve it and then I express it through whatever I have, through my voice, usually through harmonies, through rhythm, and through singing bowls. And it just really creates like a unique experience for my clients. Usually they'll come to me and they'll come with a word like intuition or something they want to activate, or just something that they want to bring focus to or bring more of into their life. And I will use that word to go and access this place and then pull through. Whatever really comes out is a very intuitive process.
Right.
Um, and very elevating as well for me and the people receiving those songs.
Wow. So it's less about people coming to you with their problems or their past traumas. It's more like people wanting to have more of something in their lives, like strength or intuition.
Yeah, exactly. Like activation. That's what I really like to focus on, and deliberate intent. I mean, people do come to me having trauma, but the real focus is to release that. And the best way to release that is to replace it with something else and to activate something else, so
Yeah.
that they're then full of that and the trauma can't exist anymore. I had to go through that myself because I had a lot of trauma for about 7 or 8 years that I had to process and learn to release and let go of and detach from the stories. And sound healing was a huge part of that too.
Wow. So that totally makes sense. So instead of like just getting rid of the past trauma, you'll end up feeling like, I guess, empty, or there's a void. And I guess that's why so many people who are like sick are attached to their stories as being sick.
Mm, mm-hmm.
Without an illness or without a disease, because they're like, who am I without this illness? So you're already like one step ahead. You're saying, before we just take away the trauma or get rid of that out of the body, you're like, what can we put in the body so that we're
Yeah,
basically like
yeah,
taking out the trauma with all this new energy.
exactly. Yeah, I think it's very important, because otherwise, when you're just getting rid of it, it has a habit of kind of creeping back in. It's quite easy to slip into the old pattern. It's like that energy's still there, and if the space doesn't have a strong intention around it, then it's quite easy to have, yeah, like the old stuff resurface and try and fill that space again.
Yeah.
Just, yeah, it's exactly as you were saying.
And how exactly do you help others activate and untap the certain energies in their body?
So with sound healing,
Yes. But like how
yeah.
exactly do you how do you target like the one area that they're wanting?
Yeah, so I really put a lot of trust in spirit and source, because I know and believe and have learned that source really takes care of the specifics of it, and the less that my mind is involved, the better, and the more efficient and the more quick that the healing works, and people receive it. So what I really focus on doing is getting into my heart space and making sure that my mind is clear and that I'm relaxed, and then I just really put myself in the position of being a conduit for that energy, just knowing and trusting that that intention is there, and what's supposed to be healed will be healed. And I find that is the most direct way to heal, more so than like focusing really hard on like one thing.
Yeah, is channeling, when you channel that, the music and the sounds, is that similar to what it feels like or how you describe to trust your intuition?
I mean, that's interesting. I've never thought about that. I mean, I guess that is exactly what's happening. It is a very intuitive process. So I would be trusting it. But yeah, I had never really thought about it like that
Because I'm
before.
interested in like channeling, because there's also people who channel spirits and things like that. And I've always been super interested in the channeling thing, and I feel like I've somewhat become close to mastering listening to my intuition, and it's
Mm,
to explain, but I don't feel like I channel necessarily other spirits and other voices or things like that, but I'd like to. But I wonder if it's just like the
mm.
same kind of feeling in your body as trusting your intuition, like when you're making,
Yeah, well,
it's just
mm,
going through you, right? Like you're not even thinking about it.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And maybe you're like me. Like I feel like um what I channel, and the way that I learned to channel, was that I'm channeling myself. Like I'm channeling my soul. I'm channeling my higher self. Like it's all me. It's my essence. And I find that that um, gives a really pure channeling, rather than uh, channeling something else. Not that there's anything wrong with that,
Yeah.
but it's channeling for me is a lot about deepening that connection to the self, deepening that connection to myself, and deepening others' connections to themselves.
Yeah. So if people want to come to one of your sound baths, where are you located?
Yeah. So I'm located in Scotland, but I am attending retreats this year and next year, and from then onwards,
Yeah.
around the world. So yeah, I've got my eyes on Bali and Hawaii and some of the states and
It's amazing. I would love
different places.
that in Hawaii. And how do people find you online if they're wanting to connect with you?
Yeah, so I like to be on Instagram. I'm currently redoing it, but it's Venus Moon Temple. And then that is the same name as my YouTube channel, which I post a lot of music on there, Venus Moon Temple as well. And
Yes.
then there is Aurelia Ari on Facebook, but my friend list is full. Um, and then I also have Venus Moon Temple as well, and a Venus Moon Temple Facebook group. That's probably the best way to directly contact me and
Yeah. And if
get to know a bit about my work behind the scenes.
for sure. And what blew me away was listening to your music. So how can people sample and listen to some of your music?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel has probably the largest collection of my music. I just, everything that well, almost everything that I channel,
Yeah.
I will post there. And I have also a Bandcamp page where people can buy my music. And then elsewhere, probably in my group, Venus Moon Temple, that will be for live streams and live music,
Oh, wow, amazing. And
live sound baths.
can you talk us through like how does it work if someone contacts you online from anywhere in the world? Because not everyone is in Scotland. So
Yeah.
if someone contacts you and they're wanting to have more clarity in their intuition and follow their intuition in their life, how would that work if someone contacts you and that's like the purpose of them wanting?
Yeah, so it depends whether they would like something created, like a healing tool for themselves, like some music channeled, um, or some artwork channeled as well, or if they want to work on a more intimate one-on-one basis. So I have one-on-one programs for that, and I have some shamanic healing sessions that are kind of in 2-hour bursts where we go really, really deep into who that person is as a person, deepening the relationship with themselves so that they really can open up and trust their intuition in that way, and in doing that, activating it at deeper levels.
And do you do breath work in those sessions as well?
I do, actually. Yeah, that's been a really helpful thing in my healing journey as well. It took me a long time to actually realize how important that part was in it. But yeah, breath, the body, movement, sound, all of these things.
Amazing. And can you give us some examples of some of the success stories of some of your clients that you've had?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. It seems like there really is no limit to what the people create. It's just whatever their intention is. I've had some people, I had this girl, one of my first clients, she was an astrologer and a beauty therapist. And I don't know how much she was making at the time that she came to me. It was maybe a couple of $1,000s a month. And she was wanting to go into coaching. She was wanting to start to do a bit of spiritual coaching and business coaching. And she ended up selling her first 20K package through some of the processes that I took her through.
Wow.
Because she was just able to go into that energy and that frequency that was required of her to be relaxed and be able to hold that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Great. Well, I hope people will check out your work and, yeah, find your music through this podcast episode. I've listened to your music constantly since you sent me your YouTube link. I absolutely love it, and I would love, love, love to hear more. And I'd love to support you if ever you have an album out or singles on Apple Music or Spotify or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
let me know as well. I'd love to support you in it. I love your music. It just, I can
Thank
really
you so
feel
much.
change the whole frequency in my body, and it makes me just feel so powerful yet at peace at the same time. I just absolutely love
Yeah. Perfect.
it. And I encourage you to just keep doing your solo music. I know you've got so many other projects on now, but your vocals, when you just let go, and I guess that's where the channeling comes in, you can feel the
Yeah.
power in that, and you can feel it's coming from another source outside of you as well. And
Yeah.
super powerful, and I highly recommend for people to check out your work and listen to your music.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.